Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wa mursaleen Sayyidina wa Habibina al-Mustafa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we'd like to welcome you all to tonight's rendition of the Black Imams Roundtable. I'm Imam Faheem, aka the host and the ghost with the most from coast to coast, Alhamdulillah, I'm hailing from Camden, New Jersey, representing the Quba School and Islamic Center, and I'm 1/3 of the Black Imams Roundtable. Alhamdulillah, to my side, I got the notorious, the infamous, the famous Imam Amin Muhammad of Masjid Muhammad of Atlantic City, Alhamdulillah. And the third part of our trio is Imam Naeem Abdullah of Masjid in Pittsburgh, who can't be with us here tonight as he's traveling. He's abroad. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep him safe while he's there and to grant him a safe return. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. And then we got 3465 Khadim al-Otis. Your math ain't mathing, man, Muawiyah. It's 3453. You got a new code? That's a new code y'all got, Imam? MashaAllah. Yeah, you on mute.
That is Muawiyah. He is listening, but not really listening.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So
that was a typographical error on his part.
Yeah. So the first order of business, inshallah, is that first to like and share this podcast tonight, inshallah, on your platforms. To welcome people in. MashaAllah, la bat sheikh. I knew I was just messing with you, And the second order of business, inshallah, as we request, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but, I'm not exempt from the request that I make from you. So we request $10 per person. So you see that $10 and you can see the Masjid Muhammad logo there. And in the message, you put BIRT or Black Imams Roundtable, so to help us to reach our goal, inshallah. So we all contribute, and get that out the way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and double and multiply your reward, increase your provision. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you an opening in all that is good. Amin. Okay, so we're going to get started tonight. So tonight is going to be an open mic session. So we'll throw a few things out there, but what we're looking for is some feedback from our listening audience, inshallah. If you have any criticisms, any suggestions, any corrections, any deletions, any additions, anything, questions that we may have missed, things that you want to, think that we should discuss, and and some upcoming stuff we're, trying to accomplish. We will look for your feedback, inshallah ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, the last few roundtables we've been kind of, discussing issues of Aqidah. And of course, we will definitely resume that because it is very important. Oftentimes, as you have seen on this platform and in other places, people have commented that they call these Aqidah wars. And we, what they call wars, what we call clarification. Because I don't remember nobody, calling it an assault when it was an assault, 25 or 30 years ago. An assault on the Muslims and checking everybody's, minhaj and asking them, what masjid they attend and, what place they, go to and who they listen to. And, even where it got to the point where people were checking you by asking you, where's Allah, to see if you were on the right way. And that was totally wrong, So, and I don't remember nobody calling in an assault then, because it was always, gears towards the Muslims and, checking them. And, I don't remember nobody ever calling it an assault. So why someone would call it a war now, it's beyond me, But mashallah, be that as it may, it is a very important topic that we will always revisit. As you know, this is Imam Amin's, this is his, one of his strong points in clarifying Aqidah, alhamdulillah, being the teacher. And, so we will always continue to talk about it. But we wanted to give it a little break today and we'll resume it. But right now we want to pay attention to you because you all know as the 3453 family and also those who are affiliated with us, this is who we do this for. you know, and we've said on numerous occasions, you know, that if we didn't have this platform, if this platform didn't exist, that myself, Imam Amin, and Imam Naeem, you know, we're particularly busy within our own communities and in our own regions, you know, doing a lot of work, you know, a lot of it that we won't be able to, you know, to broadcast online. A lot of it, you know, won't go notice. And mashallah, we're cool with that. But this is for the family that we built, you know, over the last few years, who have attended our sessions. You know, we've grown as a family. We've grown to love each other. We've grown to know each other. We've traveled with each other. We studied with each other, and we have built, you know, a pretty good, solid, you know, chemistry online, mashallah. And so we appreciate all of you. So we don't ever want you to think that we're just kind of doing this and, you know, not, you know, considering, you know, what you guys have to contribute, because you are a big part. You are the major part of this, what we do, you know, to come on here every week and, you know, address the issues that we feel that is, you know, affecting us as, you know, foundational Black Muslims, you know, or whatever term you want to use. I always like the term, you know, Black Muslims. You know, many people, you know, get in an uproar about that, you know, and whenever we use the term Black Muslims, you know, we never, that's not to exclude any other ethnic group, but, you know, as you all know, we try to focus on, you know, issues that affect us directly, you know, issues of poverty, issues of, you know, community engagement, issues of, you know, broken families, issues of, you know, having corrupt Islam taught to us, you know, throughout the ages, you know, and so many things that we need to address and we need to clarify, we need to correct. And so this will be the platform for that. But tonight, inshallah, you know, we're looking for a lot of input from you all. So it'll be an open mic, you know, so it can be questions, it can be comments, things you want to ask us, things you want us to address. And maybe if some of you, you know, if you have, you know, if you clean yourself up pretty good, you know, you might can come on, inshallah. You know, so I'll say with that. So that's my little intro, inshallah. So I'll turn it over to Imam Amin, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to you all. Inshallah ta'ala. We wanted to, since we don't have Imam Genius with us tonight, you know, we thought it would be a great idea to give you an opportunity to address us with your thoughts, your suggestions, even your criticisms about the Black Imams Roundtable. And we want to know, you follow us every week. We want to hear from you because we don't get to hear from you. And I think it's extremely important that we exchange. We're trying to improve our collective condition. And we don't claim to have all the answers. So the engagement is important. And if really the way, from my side, I look at it like we're just, you know, taking care of the soil for future people to benefit from the fruits and vegetables that will come out of that ground, you know, and we're the beginning of a continuous beginning of growth. And, you know, it's our hope that collectively we can change the conditions of our communities, right? And that's a lot of work. It's not easy, you know. So your input, your thoughts on all the conversations that we have a lot of conversations. We want to hear from you. Now there's conditions. So because we want to be fruitful in our discussions, right? Even if you agree and you have another perspective, that's good. If you disagree and you have a different perspective, we're open to dialogue. That doesn't mean we have to be offensive. That doesn't mean we have to, we can disagree vehemently with respect. That's doable. And we need to, because our differences are not all that we have. We have things in common. We have things we share. We have, right? So those differences, they're not the end of the world, right? And sometimes we make it seem like that's the end of the world. It's not, right? And in our business, as imams and as community people, you got to have thick skin, right? You got to have thick skin. You have to be able to engage, right? And so, inshallah ta'ala, we put the link so that you can join. And let me just lay down some ground rules, right? So we can be like civil with each other. Number one, if you're not properly dressed or you're not in a proper environment, don't put on your camera. If you're not properly dressed, Islamically properly dressed, so the proper dress for a woman, they knew, is everything besides your hands and your face, right? Should be covered. If that's not covered, then you should just take off your camera. If you're in an environment that's noisy, that's, not befitting for what we're talking about, leave off your camera, right? No one's going to disrespect you, so don't you disrespect no one else. If you should do that, immediately, we got the controls. We're going to cut you off. But we don't want to cut you off. We want to hear you out, even if you disagree. So be respectful. You can disagree and still be respectful, right? I disagree all the time. There's no problem. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But you can still be respectful. So that's all the conditions. And if there's a topic that's outside of our ability to answer, we'll say, I don't know. And there's no problem. No one got no big ego. And so it's open. So we open for you to have, because we want to hear your comments. Sometimes you just want to say your piece and how you've benefited, whatever that. It's open mic night with the Black Imams Roundtable. And even especially those who had things they wanted to get across, but it don't come out in the comments, here's your chance. So I'll put the link up again. And inshallah, I hope we have a fruitful, beneficial exchange for each other, inshallah.
Yeah, may I add, Imam? Yeah,
No,
yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, you could be disrespectful too, but it's coming back. Yeah, you could be disrespectful. Like, we like that kind of stuff too. Okay, we had one question already, man.
So we got two questions. So,
two questions.
The first question was this one: the Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab minhaj, 3 types of Tawhid, is being questioned, and the Wahhabis are not taking it well. Was that a question or a statement? It sounds like a statement.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a statement. But it's a true statement. It's a true statement.
Bounce off that, Alan was Alan. Go for it, homie.
Yeah. Well, we started off. We said we wasn't going to talk about Aqidah, but this is very important.
I never said that. You said that. I always talk about Aqidah.
Okay. Well, I'm speaking for myself. Okay, I said good. I wasn't going. So so it is problematic for them, and it should be because we've seen this assault with this 3 types of Tawheed, and even during the time of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, how this is how it was used to to justify the assault and the killing on Muslims. And I'm currently reading this book, and I encourage all of you to read it. It's called The Divine Lighting. It's written by Ibn Abdul Wahhab's brother, Sulaiman Ibn Abdul Wahhab. And so the gist of the book is he's refuting his brother about, how he classified Tawheed and some of the positions that he has taken to take people outside of Islam, and he didn't really have a precedence. And some of the things that he discusses in the book that Ibn Abdul Wahhab, some of the things that he turned Muslims into kuffar for issues that no one preceded him in. For some of the issues that he argued that was shirk and kufr and disbelief, and he spilled the blood of Muslims. The scholars that came before him, even if it was some practices that they felt like they were disliked, at least in the Hanbali school, because his brother Imam Sulaiman ibn Abdul Wahhab, was a Hanbali scholar. So even the practices in that school that was disliked, he makes the point that no one preceded him in the manner of making Muslims into disbelievers on these actions. So, and so that's one of the things. And so, and even the three categories of Tawheed, the categorization, in and of itself is not really problematic, but what's the belief behind it? That's the problem, So in short, that in these three types of Tawheed, he attempts to make the Christians and Jews equal to the Muslims, and making the Muslims disbelievers like them in the same breath, in the same way. So he attempts to say that, the idol worshippers, even the pagan Arabs and Jews and Christians, that, they believed in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said in the aspect of uluhiyya, right, or in worship, ubudiyya, that we are like them in making partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is the problem, and so why we have to discuss it, because everywhere you go, even after you get some training, you'll go to, a bookstore online or in your local area, you won't be hard pressed to find this book with three categories of Tawheed, and sometimes it's really like depressing. Like, you might get a new Muslim, and then, you talking to them about Islam, and then they come back. Yeah, what about this book? Let me look at it. And then the first thing is, Rububiyya, Uluhiyya, Asma wa Sifat. Oh my God, man, come on. So it's important, to understand how he categorized these, three aspects of Tawheed, and the belief he put behind them, and why we have to clarify it all the time, because, the average person is not really getting it, so we have to keep working, inshallah. So, all right. I don't know if you had anything to add to it, Imam.
So if one wanted to really understand, I wish we can move beyond names and titles to ideas and beliefs and thoughts, right? Like names and titles, move away from that so that we can understand principles and beliefs and understandings, right? I think that's just important. So when I look at the classification of Tawheed into three categories, namely Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the oneness of lordship, and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah or Tawheed al-Ibadah, the oneness of Godhood or the oneness of worship, and Tawheed al-Asma'i wa Sifat, and the oneness of names and attributes. I don't look at just that categorization in and of itself. I look at what it was intended to respond to. And the response is basically something that was the practice of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah among the early Salaf, and later the Ash'aris and Maturidis and the followers of the four schools and the people of Tasawwuf. So it's a direct response to our belief system. and our practices. So in terms of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, it is to say that everyone believes that Allah is our Rabb, or Allah is the Khaliq, the creator. But that doesn't negate one worshiping other than Allah. So they come with this Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, or Tawheed of Ibadah. And the Ibadah that they're saying contradicts one's belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the practice of at-tawassul and at-tabarruk, or visiting the graves, or calling by the status of the Prophet ﷺ or the righteous. All of these things they consider polytheism or shirk al-akbar. And that definition is not accepted by the vast majority of Muslims. It is the belief of those people who follow that methodology. So that's one aspect of it where we disagree. Then the third, Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat, is to blame the Sunni Muslim community for their practice of at-tafweed and at-ta'wil, to leaving the meanings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala related to his attributes, or doing figurative interpretation, which was the practice of the early Muslims and the Ash'aris and the Maturidis and the great Imams of the four schools, among the scholars of Hadith, among the scholars of Tafsir, among the scholars of Arabic language, among the people of Tasawwuf. So they are refuting all of that. So when we look at that categorization, it is really an accusation on the ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and there's where we respond to it. So for us, that is why we find that problematic. And if we were to go into details of it, this categorization is not known by the majority of the Muslims. It is people in different times and eras that in their time they were known by the vast majority of Muslims as being on the wrong side of the Islamic creed, and at the maximum end, and at the least part of it is that they had opinions that were not considered weighty opinions by the vast majority of Islamic scholars. And when you look at it from that aspect, it's purely religious conviction and practice that is something that is established by Ahl Sunnah, and it is an accusation that the majority of the Muslim nation were misguided, and we don't accept, if not kuffar or disbelievers altogether. That's it. And if we had that discussion, then it's not enough. Every time those ideas are challenges a debate, why can't it just be a discussion that I don't agree with you, and this is why we disagree? And then if we can come to an understanding, great. If not, we know why it's a difference, and we accept that difference, and we live with it like we live with every other difference in the world we live in. And Allah knows best. Okay. All right, that's that. Next question. You want to take that?
Yeah, I have a question. What can be done with marriage and religion here in the West? I know it's trying, but truly we have small children. I feel for them tremendously. This dunya is so wicked. I see so many Muslim men here in the West saying they choose to marry non-Muslim women because it's financially hard in America, and I think it's sad. Yeah, this is, an issue that has arisen, where we find a lot of, brothers, I don't I don't know if they're choosing to, marry non-Muslim women. I think from in my experience that a lot of them have already been involved with, non-Muslim women. And then it's either they trying to get them to convert or, unfortunately, a lot of brothers that I've seen have been comfortable with being with these non-Muslim women and not married. I wouldn't attribute that to the majority of, brothers, but marriage is still an issue that we have to start really paying attention to, and not just marriage, because getting married is the easy part, but being husband and wife and remaining married, that's the other issue, and so what we have to do is start doing some unconventional things that people don't really like to talk about. For instance, raising our children up first to see marriage as something that's viable at a young age, and then also establishing for ourselves stable marriages that they can see models of. And then the other part is, this is a hard one, but polygyny is going to have to really be an option for our people. Because not just the shortage of men, but the shortage of good men and eligible men. I mean, in my work, I have a lot of sisters that in my own community, and just, and people who contact me are always looking for husbands, and it's like, okay, and I could find you a husband, sis, but is he going to be, worthy of husbandry? I mean, that's the whole thing. So there's a lot of things that we have to really work on. But the thing is really being the example that we want to see, making sure we stick in there for the long haul, show our kids models of what it's like to be married. So when they grow up, and everyone raising, going back to, tarbiyah with our children, making sure that they find some comfort in the deen, that the deen is not like something that's, a hardship for them. We put them in environments where Islam is thriving, and, they start looking when they get younger. Many times, when our children reach a certain age, we're pushing them and propelling them in certain areas. We want them to be successful. We want them to finish school. And then, we want marriage to be the last thing, okay, after you get all this, then you get married, or after you have this, that, and that in order, then you get married. But, we should get married, and we should not put so many obstacles in the way of getting married. But of course it's difficult, and we want the best outcome for our children, but we got to start somewhere. And it really starts with raising our children, raising our daughters to be, where they're going to be complementary to a man, not just when someone, that a man has to be at her every whim. And then when he doesn't meet the challenge, then, just ready to throw him out. And then we have to raise men who can be men again, that are not domineering or overbearing, but they know how to lead. They know how to navigate. They know how to create a safe space for their wife. They know how to, do the things that women are looking for. They pay attention to the little things. So it's a whole spectrum that we got to cover. But, let's start, if we know the example that we want to see, then let's make sure that we put it out there, inshallah. Raising our children, we have small children, start getting them towards marriage, start pairing them up with kids, their age. And then, I used to always have this idea. And at the time, people thought I was crazy. I would say, okay, I would let my daughter or son get married, right? And it's an actual contract, but to them, they think they're just dating. They think that they're dating, but they're actually married. So let them enjoy the companionship with each other. And, right away, for instance, like if you have a daughter, son, they live in it with their family members. And then when they get to a certain area, a certain stage, they already married, they off to school, and then they can still enjoy each other. And they already made the contract. You know what I mean? So we got to start looking at, ways to come up with getting our children married and letting them see the fruits of marriage. Because even though marriage is difficult, at times, it's beautiful. It's beautiful once we learn the chemistry between men and women, and letting them be on their own and not having the expectations that we think that we should have we have expectations for them that we think that we should have You know, for instance, we think they're supposed to be a certain way, and that, you know, you have to let them get married and you have to let them be them and just be like a support system from afar, you know, and just let them work it out, but let them get married, you know. Don't let all of these things that, you know, because we talk about marriage in the West, sometimes we make our model off of marriages in the West, you know, that all of this stuff has to be in place. Don't get married, don't have children to this time, you know, and really that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, just get married because it's a contract and it's an arrangement, just like you do any other kind of contract or arrangement. You know what I mean? You make the vows, you make the agreement, and then you work to fulfill those vows. You know, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears and sees all. You know, sometimes we make it more than everything. We make it more about romanticism and all of these things. You know, it's about a contract of trying to fulfill each other's rights and using each other as means to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, so I'll leave it at that. But, you know, for us who are capable and able, making sure that we are the example that we want to see, and then get with like-minded people who are doing the same thing. You know, consult couples who've been married a long time, consult couples who allowed their children to get married young, and, you know, and we all have to get a village back together. You know, married brothers hang with married brothers, married sisters hang with married sisters. You know, married sisters don't take advice from non-married sisters. Advice, you know, brothers who are married don't hang out with your boys who are not married and can't keep a woman. You know what I mean? So all of these things we have to do, inshallah, and Allah knows best.
There's one extra part to that. I don't know if you want to take it. No, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Where did that go?
I see so many sisters that have zero issue with polygyny, but again,
Yeah, this one. There you go.
Okay, you just took it off. Okay, but most men knows financially they can't afford it, to be fair, so they don't want. Then we have others that have many wives that don't care for them. I give dua, Allah knows best. Yeah, yeah, this is a slippery slope. You know, I don't see many sisters that have zero issues with polygyny. No, I've seen it go from where, you know, some don't have it to where some they don't agree to it at all, and they'll never agree to it, and then some they just want to see it done right, but they haven't seen it done right on any kind of, you know, grand scale, you know. And then of course, you know, we have to be in reality of, especially Black Muslims, the financial situation that we in. A lot of men are in financial straits, and then this whole idea about what is richness, you know, what is wealth, you know, because honestly, a lot of people have the appearance that they're doing good, and everybody's struggling. You know, I remember reading a report. They said that 70% of people in America are one paycheck away from poverty or homelessness. You know, that, you know, most people, you know, 3 or 4 months go and they don't have any employment. You know, things are up in the air. So we have to start looking at these kind of things and look at the sunnah with these respective marriages. And it's not always an ideal situation. We have it where a man may have the wealth and he can afford 2, 3, or 4 wives, or we have a man who can only afford one wife, he's content with one wife, or a man who can marry more than one woman, and he might not be the richest person, and the wives are cool with that. So it depends on the issue. You know, it depends on that issue and how to, you know, the agreements that you make and understanding what you're coming in with. Because sometimes, from my experience, I've seen sisters, you know, and this is not a slight to sisters, but they'll come in and they see all of these things clearly on the wall, right? Okay, yeah, no problem. But then they want to change it up, right? Oh, well, that's the, you know, yeah, that's what I said before. But, you know, now I need this, that, and the other. You know, the brother didn't have no bread. You know he was halfway working. You know, he only had a GED, you know, but you said he was knowledgeable. You know, you liked him and all that, and that's cool, you know, but don't try to change it up. And also for brothers who marry and then may not have the right intention, and then all they got was, you know, what they was looking for. You know, they wanted intimacy and companionship, but then, you know, when the woman, you know, had the mouth, you know, and she started mouthing off at him, you know, he thought it was too much. Now he wants a divorce, you know. No. So put all these things together, because the marriage, the combination of man and woman in matrimony, Allah calls it an ayat. He calls it a sign. It's a, it's a miracle, So we had to put these miracles together. And, we have to know and be real about what works best for us. If you're not okay with polygyny, then don't act like, it's, you just say, what I call these parole board answers, when you're in front of the parole board, you say everything right because you want to get out. Don't give a parole board answer. Let it be known up front that you're not okay with this, that, and the other. And if you see writing on the wall, you see red flags, you see things that get your attention, don't ignore them. Don't ignore them. So it's a lot of stuff that we have to. We have to have another series of this, but just. Know your station, know where you at with it, and and be transparent about it, and Allah knows best.
One of the things I always think, I honestly don't like this subject at all. Honestly, I don't. I know it's a necessary subject, but I don't like it. Why I don't like it? Because on both sides, men and women, from my experience as an imam, nobody ever come right. Most 95% of the time, there is a mask when we come together. When we meet, there's a mask. There's never, listen, you as a man, and you as a woman. Each of us know each other. We know who we are. Then there is the Quran and the Sunnah. Forget Quran and Sunnah, because I'm going to say the taboo word that some don't like. We're not deluded in our understanding of the religion. There is the sacred law. There is the Sharia. And there is rules in the religion. Most of us don't know the rules. We want to get married. The man or the woman don't know the rules of Islamic marriage at all. If you ask the average person who's going to get married, what are the ahkam of an-nikah? They don't know. What's the rulings of marriage? I have no idea. What are the hukuk related to the husband and the wife? They have no idea. The average person, all they want to do is, I'm going to complete half my deen. You don't even know a third of your deen, let alone talking about completing half of it, right? Honestly. But you want to get married, which is nothing wrong. But Imam Bukhari, he said something that I think we should all take serious. In his Sahih, in the book of knowledge, Kitab al-Ilm, he has a section that says, Bab al-ilmu qabla al-qawli wal-amal. The section, knowledge must precede every statement and action. Marriage is statements and actions. If you don't know the rules, then you really shouldn't be engaging in that until you learn the rules. And I've seen people come to the marriage table with unrealistic expectations of each other. Okay, let me give you an example. Most Muslim men, especially in the African-American inner city communities, right? Especially, which is predominantly our audience. Not everybody, but most of our audience, because this is the Black Imams Roundtable, are African-Americans from the inner city. Most of them. And then there are others who like what we do and, they're in. But the predominant, especially our on-the-ground communities, realistically, everybody is financially struggling within the context of the American society. It is extremely hard for a one-income house to take care of the family. Wife, husband, children, And all of the way we live in America, one income is usually not enough. Let's engage. Would y'all agree with that? Before I go on, would you agree in the average American house, a one income is really not sufficient? The way we live, would y'all agree with that? In general, I'm not talking about every single case. So don't, I'm an oddball. I know you an oddball. You special, I know. But not all of us are special. So I'm talking about the average. Would you say that's true? Okay. So realistically, if any woman is expecting the average man with his average income to take care of all of her needs, she is a little bit delusional. It's not going to happen. If we say that's true, the average man, I'm not talking about some special dude, the average man can do it. He can't. He needs assistance. Whether it comes from you or somebody else or something, another job, he needs some help. One income that the average brother is going to get with his skill set, his education, is not going to be enough to take care of the way we live. It's just not happening, right? So realistically, asking this person to do that is not rational. It's not. It's not rational. You're asking for something that's not doable. So before you even got started, you set your marriage up for failure. Because in America, among the number one reasons, the top 3 reasons for divorce in American society is around finance. Second question, would y'all agree with that? Among the top 3 reasons for divorce in America, period, and we're in America, and we're Muslim, but we're still in America, and most of us live like Americans. The top 3, among them is finances. Is this correct? Would you agree? Because we're talking. So therefore, if we're coming in not being realistic, having unrealistic expectations, we're already setting ourselves up to fail, because that issue is one of the top reasons that cause divorce in general. That's not wise, right? So we're setting ourselves up for failure. So I think we need to relook at, reevaluate how we approach marriage altogether within the context where we live and the rules of the sacred law. That's very important. This is being realistic, right? Then, on top of that, we look at the condition of men and women. Many sisters, unfortunately, due to what we're talking about, are going to be unwed. Because in our communities, there are more women available than there are men. Would y'all agree with that? In our communities, there are more available women than there are available men. Forget his status. We're talking about just female, male. There are more females available than there are males. Would we agree with that? And I'm talking about what kind of male? I'm talking about just the male species, period. The black male species, there are more women available than there are men. Would we agree with that? Okay. So since that's the case, well, I know in my community, for sure. So that's my data. And every community I go to, I see a bunch of single women and all the men are married, except the ones who don't want to be married. And some of the men got more than one wife. So to me, That's enough data for me on the ground when I watch. And I travel around the country, as you know. It's the same thing everywhere you go. A bunch of sisters talking about they can't find a husband, and men who are either married or have more than one wife, and then the segment of dudes who just don't want to get married, but they got a bunch of girlfriends. I hate to say it. Let's keep it real. So it ain't like they like some pious awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm like Imam Nawawi. I don't want married. I choose knowledge over marriage. No, you're not Imam Nawawi, Joker. You doing stuff, right? That's real. So from experience on the ground, that's what I see, right? That's a reality. So that's my judgment of it. And then I know a great portion of our men, a good portion, are in prison, correctional facilities, drug and alcohol treatment. There's a lot of them in that. And they're not functional. They're out of the marriage stuff. And a lot of women are in professional careers, striving, taking care of their kids, universities. So we have these challenges, right? So when I look at all these challenges, we have certain circumstances that we just have to face, right? And I think listen, I'm a realist. I live in the real world. I see it every day. This is my job. This is what I do every day, all day long. I see stuff all the time. I know stuff. Do you know there are, since we want to get controversial, let me tell you how much I know. There are brothers who don't learn because all they want is women, so they don't got to learn a lot of knowledge. They could just say some phrase, get on the internet, be the imam, and collect women. That exists. That's real. And a lot of the women right on this platform have fell victim to that. Joe Willie Bone Shake, kicking it. Don't know his hair from his toes, but he got you, and that's all he doing. This is real stuff. This is what we live with. And then you say, oh man, he was a joker. I could have told you that. This is real stuff we deal with, right? I could have told you he was a joker. And I know some of them live off the women. She got a good job, she lonely, and he's a sheikh. And he taking her right to the cleaners with him, right? Yo, Ak, where you get that car and that nice stove from? Oh, the sister Ak, you know, my wife Zoj. It's funny, but it's not funny, right? This happens a lot. No responsibility, right? So the reality is these are things we see. I'm not making it up. I can count the cases, many of them. So I think we should look at things a little differently, right? And we should have, that's why I'm so real with it. People don't even come to me. They say, it's a rumor in my community, don't go to Imam Amin, you're not going to get married. Because I be having real talks, right? Because the man if you up for the taking, a lot of these brothers, they weren't, we were before Islam, seriously. Let me share, sisters, can I share something with y'all? And brothers, we can be honest. A lot of dudes, they got their credibility through Islam. They getting their player's card through the deen. Before Islam, they wasn't like that. They couldn't even get women. They couldn't hang in the park where the women were, like they wasn't like that. But through the deen, now I'm sheikh, I got my stuff, I got my little Arabiya, you know what I mean? I'm hanging in with the group. Now I got a way to get some women. And I never had women. And it's like, it's for the picking. It becomes enough. And the sister's so lonely and can't find a man, she gonna accept that crap. I'm telling you firsthand, it's real. So what I'm saying, we got to approach it differently. I say it all my time. Let's be real, Imam Faheem. Let's be real. This is the Black Imams Roundtable. We be real.
1,000.
If you wanted to, could you be picking them off left and right? Be honest.
Oh, man.
If you didn't control your nafs and you was afraid of your wife, you can pick them off left and right because you know how it go. And every imam can say that.
Goldie.
Oh, astaghfirullah. It's wrong. I ain't a part of that, right? But no. Seriously, this is real stuff, right? Right? And we have conversations like we're Black imams. That means a lot. We have real conversations, real stuff. You know how many women be making themselves available in word by look for brothers to take them? And if the brother ain't right, he gonna go for it. So I think we should have like a whole look at stuff differently, right? Stop fronting, acting like you follow the Sharia. You don't even know the Sharia. How you following something you don't know? Be real. And now let's learn. You know, as a rule, when I talk to people to get married, we got to study the whole section on marriage, divorce, and child custody before I marry you. That's it. Oh, I'm going down the street. I can just go get the brother and the sister. We gonna hook it up. Yo, how can you just be the witnesses? And the sister come back later talking about some, Imam, I told you this dude was a joker before you got involved. We see it all the time. So what I'm saying, don't come to talking like you Rabia al-Adawiyya and this is Hassan al-Basri or something, or Junaid al-Baghdadi. No, you not Junaid and you not Rabia. Stop it. Now, be who you are. Let's deal with the real reality and let's have a real talk. And let's see how we can make this stuff really work. Like, stop fronting. Stop acting like you something you not. And be real, because it's going to come out when you do this fake marriage you got. This fronting you doing together, when it come out, it's all going to be real. Because some of us got history, right? Some of us got stuff. Some of us been in bad relationships, not marriages, bad relationships with our fathers, with our mothers. Some people have been through, abuse, all this stuff. And then you come in the deen acting like that stuff ain't real. A lot of us need therapy before we even talk about marriage. This is real stuff. I'm like, right? You ain't even addressed your issue and you can maybe pile that on somebody. My last husband was a bum, so it's all your fault now. My wife cheated on me. It's all your fault. Stuff. So we all got to come whole first. And that's why we need a village. We need a village. Like, we need relationships that have worked, that have survived all the stuff we go through, to be mentors for us as we go. You don't need to just talk to the imam. You need to talk to some married couple who've been through all the stuff you're getting ready to go through. And all of us together need to help each other. So that takes love. You can quote all the ayat you want. You can quote all the hadith you want. That ain't going to change reality. It sounds great, but when it got to be practiced, that's a whole nother story. Brother, this is his rights. Sister, this is his rights. Come on. Stop. Really, if we want to improve marriages, we need families. Families do marriages. Not the homeboy, Not just the imam, not the local sheikh. Families do marriage. We need to build our family structure. And if we don't have our families, because a lot of non-Muslims, we need Muslim community families. And that's all a protection for all of us, right? I'm telling you, it is important that we be honest. We have to be honest with each other. Sheikh Samuel always say, I don't want to see your mask. Take off your mask. I need you to be you. Most of us got a mask. I'm with polygamy. Yeah, until it happens. Right? Right? Like, I'm with polygamy. Yeah, until it happens. And then, oh, this happened. Oh, he ain't taking care of me. We already know he couldn't take care of you. So why did you marry him? We already knew he couldn't take care of you. He don't have enough money. Right? You go to work. Let me tell you, no man in any society, men, really want their wife to work. Do y'all know that? No man in societies around the world really want his wife at the service of another man. He don't really want his wife to work. A real man. If he could, the wife would never go to work. Most men. Do y'all agree with that? If he could, and he didn't have to deal with the wife rebelling, most men would prefer that their wife is for them alone, not no man telling his wife what to do. This is real stuff, right? So it's two reasons normally while his wife is at work. He can't do it by himself, or his wife got him running around the house, not running the house. There's real stuff. Listen, man, look, okay, you want me to shower you with a bunch of verses of the Quran and tell you stories and never get to the truth? Or we're going to talk real talk? Real talk, right? Real talk. This is what's happening on the ground. So therefore, to fix that, we need to really be real, then see how we can make this work. Sometimes the wife have to help if we're going to live like this. Like I'm Shafi. I tell my wives quick, the way you live requires that we do other stuff. The way I live, easy. For me, it's easy. I don't require nothing but some books. But the way you want to live, that's another story, right? You need stuff. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. So to have that stuff is going to require that we do certain stuff that goes outside of the limits of the sacred law. Right? No, seriously. I'm not gassing you up. Anyone who knows me know how I live. Most likely you'll see me every day. I'll have on the same clothes. I do wash them. But if I find a nice, comfortable outfit, that's all I want. I don't want to wear a bunch of stuff. I don't require it. This is clean. It's nice. I like it. I'm comfortable. I'm good. I don't require a lot. So what I'm saying is we all got to be like that to live in the way we live, or it's going to be stressful. If we're not, and we don't have to be that, but then we're going to have to be willing to what? Work with each other, right? That's real. It's, whether we like it or not, it's real, right? But sometimes some of us, men and women, the man trying to be macho takes on something he can't do. You know you can't do that, bro. Would you stop it? I'm take care of my family. I'm the sheikh. I'm the Khalifa of this house. Come on, bro. You make $16 an hour. What do you mean you're the Khalifa? Where? It's not going to work. You make $20 an hour. You're not the Khalifa of nothing. It's not going to happen. Her lifestyle requires a $50 an hour job, and you don't have it. So y'all together, she got to make 30 to your 20, or you got to get another job. And if you get another job, you're not going to be home, and she going to be mad about that. It's not realistic. It's not doable. Let's be real here. She's going to be mad. You got 2 jobs and you never home. You know, you asking for too much and you're not being real. So let's be real. And then let's see how that real looks in the sacred law. Right? Let me ask you some sisters. If the husband gave you a modest house with food for each day, he gives you enough to take care of your hunger and satisfy you every day, day by day. He gives you the food. He gives you an outfit that is suitable for the summer and an outfit that's suitable for the winter. And what is needed, choose for that outfit. And that's it. He gives you no car, no allowance. He just takes care of your food, your drink, your personal needs that are necessary needs, right? Necessary needs. And he gives you the winter clothes and the summer clothes and colors. That's it. Is he a good husband? I'm going to ask you, let's be honest, sisters. To you, in your mind, is he a good husband? In your mind, don't give me the fake stuff. In your mind, that's the rule that he has to do. But you know you don't accept. And when you start saying you accept, then what are we talking about? Why your husband's working his butt off? It doesn't take much to do what I just mentioned. Why he all stressed out? Because it's not real.
It's good until it happens.
Right, that's what I mean.
He's a good husband until it happens.
Yeah.
You eat tuna fish without no mayonnaise.
So what I mean, that's the bare minimum. That's what he's obligated to do. But we don't live like that. So he's going to do more than what he's obligated to do, right? So, and vice versa. The women have to be honest with their needs. The men have to be with their needs. So the guy want a second wife because he's stressed a lot. He's stressed because his relationship is not good with the first wife. A lot of times, he might not tell you that, but he's tired of the nagging. He's tired of the stress. So he's looking over there at the other sister. Sometimes it's knobs. Sometimes it's not all knobs. Sometimes he wants peace that he's not finding at home for whatever the reason. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it's still a reality. I'm just sharing to you stuff that we just don't talk about. We don't normally talk about these things, but they're all real. I know I'm touching on some of your triggers, but it's not about you as an individual. It's not you, right? It's not, I'm not talking about you as an individual. I'm talking about in general. And I can enumerate many cases. See, because the men don't always tell. Neither do the women. Right? It be a lot of stuff. So I'm just sharing some ideas, right? That related to that marriage problem. We have to collectively come together to tackle all these issues. We can't do it individually. We're going to lose. I'm telling you. We've been trying it. Like, just mind my business. It's just me and my business, and don't be in my business. I know you're destroying your business. You need help. All of us. We need each other to have these real talks. So we have community that I can really trust and sit down and say, listen, I want you to win. Right? I want you to win. I don't want you to lose. I'm tired of us divorcing because we're not real with each other. And our kids are experiencing that. My dad been married to 5 women. Man, that stuff is devastating on the children, especially the girls. And it can have a bad effect on the guys because he has, women are replaceable. Dad just get better with time. This stuff is dangerous. So we just have to come together, be a family, build that village, and protect each other. If you understand, I'm just keeping it real. Now, some people don't like real. They want, a flowery speech with some, decorated with some ayat and some hadith, all to end up being nonsense at the end of the day. You just tricked me with all that rhetoric. And so that's my thought of it. I could be right, I could be wrong. Well, but from experience...
You sure had a lot to talk about to not want to talk about it.
No. You know why?
No, it's the best.
Because this is my worst subject. Because on the ground, what I see, it make you want to cry, man.
Yeah.
And we've been involved with this stuff for a long time. Stuff make you want to cry, man. You start seeing some of the like just stupid stuff. How many times, Imam, I need you to help me get married. Soon as you don't do what they want, soon as you tell them to do the right stuff, they're going somewhere else. They all over here doing this, Dude didn't like Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab until it was time to get that woman. Well, actually, the creed ain't really that bad, but we're a mess, man. And that's collectively stuff we got to struggle about. And I'm not saying we have fault with it. I'm just saying we need our village. It takes a village to help build families, not just a child. Sometimes you need that village, and we don't have it. We have to develop it, And I never forget an old man. He was over 70. He was married to his wife for like 40, almost 50 years or something like that. And they asked him and his wife, like, how y'all stay together? He was like, amnesia. How y'all stay together for all? He said, amnesia. Whenever we go through stuff, we never bring it back up. We tackle it and we move on. But most of us got perfect memories for that, but not for sacred law. But you do something, I'll never forget it. I don't forget that. I might forget my lessons, but I ain't going to forget that. So may Allah make it easy. I'm just giving you my thoughts. It's only my thoughts. It's not the rules in the religion. It's what I see on the ground with my knowledge of the rules of the religion, and that's what I think we need to do. It needs to be a collective activity. I don't think we're going to do it by ourselves. And you can keep trying. I haven't seen it work in 40-something years of my Islam, so if we think that works, okay, go for it. All right, that was my long-winded, I ain't had nothing to say answer.
Okay. We got a couple of comments and a few other questions we got one from Elder Sister Patricia. It's a comment.
All right, let me this marriage stuff always goes off the edge.
Yeah.
Can we take some of these questions that were before?
Was some before that? Okay.
Yeah, I got them. Okay. I hit them all up.
Okay, you take this one.
What do you think the best methodology is as a seeker of knowledge to obtain, retain ilm in the most beneficial way? Also, any advice on learning Arabic? Stay around people who are doing what you want to do. That's my best advice. If you're seeking knowledge, stay around people who are seeking knowledge, and everything would be made easy for you. If you want to be a seeker of knowledge, be around people who seek knowledge. Be around learned people. Be around people who've done what you're trying to do and follow their examples if they have become successful. That's my best advice for that. And the same with Arabic. If you want to learn Arabic, be around people who's doing that, and you'll learn. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam. There are other pressing issues of ilm in our black communities as well. There are individuals who believe things like we don't need hadith and only Quran. Yeah, this is a reality. But again, when we learn the knowledge, then you learn the knowledge and you learn those things that oppose it, and this is not going to go anywhere. So when you hear it, you know that it's not Islam, and some of this stuff is kufr, reject hadith, this is the reject, what's like revelation, and either you're going to engage those people and, have a discussion with them to refute them, or you're just going to leave them alone, but when you see it in your communities, because, they have their own communities, but when you see it being, spread out, you have to address it, but yeah, it's out there just like many other issues that we have to address, but we just have to get to addressing them and making sure that we have sound knowledge in doing so. Yeah, go ahead. You see something?
No, we just be going hard.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about certain issues, it become triggering. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
marriage is a triggering issue. People get upset with that marriage thing.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
Okay, yeah, you on? Okay, you seeing all these on YouTube. When Imam such as yourself.
I just hit him as I came by.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you can take that one, Imam.
What is it?
When Imam such as yourself, say the majority of scholars.
Say the majority of scholars. Mm-hmm. Who are these majority of scholars? Is there a concise list? Who's on that list? Is that list subjective? When I say me, the majority of scholars, I'm talking about ulama within the 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, in the classical books that are the relied upon books in those madhabs. I'm not talking about contemporary people, because contemporary people are muqallidun. They're supposed to follow qualified mujtahid scholars. And those mujtahid scholars had students at different levels of ijtihad, expert legal opinion, and they wrote classical books. If you study those books, you're going to see where there is agreement, where there is difference of opinion. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm never talking about contemporary so-and-so and so-and-so. So the list is the relied upon books in the Hanafi school, Shafi'i school, Maliki school, Hanbali school, and the reliable scholars within that books. I don't listen to just what some contemporary sheikh says without referencing those great early relied upon scholars and books. If his statement matches that, we listen. If it disagrees with that, we might not pay that much attention. So when I say majority of scholars, that stuff can be found in the books of fiqh. That's what I mean. I am not talking about some contemporary stuff. That's me. So there's not a list. There's the list. The whole Islamic history and the books are available. You have to study. And that's just for all of us. I'm a traditional Sunni Muslim. I don't do the, Quran and Sunnah. My sheikh said, your sheikh said. I don't do that. What is the position in the madhahib of Ahl Sunnah? Because that's where we follow Islamic law. If it matches, it matches. Unless it's some new issue, then we might discuss. But just normal stuff, this is the rules of the religion. It's in the books of fiqh. Read them. And Allah knows best.
Okay, yeah, the next one.
Okay. Nobody touched that mic. Right?
Imams, what are your thoughts on Muslim communities, i.e. Muslims buying land or on a smaller level, moving in close proximity together and controlling the finances and politics in our community, similar to the Amish, Jewish, and Chinese communities, etc., have done? How can we move towards this becoming a reality? Yeah, this is really a solution. I mean, we just have to do it. We have to have trust, in each other, and really just have to do it. I mean, this is going to be necessary. I've said this before, and not just because I said it had any merit, but I think we need like another migration in America. For Muslims, we need another migration that where we all go to a place and we live in our own land. But then, as Americans, we just so individualistic, and about independence. Yeah, this is like a hindrance from us really working together, because as soon as something doesn't go right or it's not according to what we think it should be, then everybody, then the next thing we want to start our own. We want to do our own thing. We want to split off, and we really gotta, like somebody said in the comment section, we got to get out of our own way. So this kind of thing would really be great. It would, but it's going, the kind of work and the effort it's going to take. We really have to be trusting each other, and you think about the hijrah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that it was so significant that the date of the Islamic calendar is based from that. How important that move was. And but we really need to do it. We really, really, really need to do it. And it's going to take a big sacrifice. You talk about uprooting everything and walking away from what you're familiar with and leaving things behind. And to be honest, as much as we need it, I don't know we're ready for it on a whole, on a collective. But there's pockets of people that's doing it. We really just need to kind of find it out and follow up on it. And if that's what we want to do, we need to do it.
Answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't believe we're ready for that at all. I believe even talking about it at our stage is putting the cart before the horse. Why do I say that? That needs unity of thought and purpose. And we don't have that enough to do that. We're too divided in our objectives to work together like that. At this stage, we have a lot of work to do prior to that. I'll give you an example. And I would like if we could, where are we at with our goal? Where are we at with our goal right now? 1 second. Give me 1 second. My point is, I want to ask all of y'all a question, and it's related to this. We are collectively working together, right? How much we try to raise weekly to do a united effort of what we're doing weekly? What do we try to raise? Let's put it in the chat. Everyone listens every week. It should be easy. How much is our base objective that we're trying to get to do our work? Everyone together. Everyone, please. Even copy and paste, because the numbers are right. Right? Now, do you realize every week we have to remind of this issue? Right now, if everybody just gave $5, we wouldn't have had that discussion. It'd be done. $5, just $5. Small stuff. A cup of coffee. That's it. Do you realize we don't get that every week? Because you're all here every week, so that means you something you like here, some objective you agree. You wouldn't be here every week if it wasn't something that you saw of value. but we haven't found it in ourselves to commit to $500. How much you think it costs to do that? Let's look at his question. What are your thoughts on Muslim communities buying land on a smaller level, moving in close proximity together, controlling the finances and politics in our communities, similar to the Amish, Jews, Chinese communities? How much you think it costs to do that? Give me a base amount of money we need to start that project. Let's talk. I don't like fantasy talking, right? We got $250 today. I'm a realist. I don't like fantasy talk. I hate that stuff, right? Let's be real with each other. Okay, we just saw how much we have today. To start that project, how much you think we need? Some of you got houses. Some of you got land. Some of you own businesses. Let's be realistic. Stop talking nonsense. Really. Be realistic. Okay. If we can't get $500, where in the world you think we're going to get $1 million from? 2 million, 3 million. Where? From where? Let's be realistic here. And wait a minute. What's going to happen when you don't have leadership? None of us want to follow nobody. Who's going to be over all that money before you start fighting with each other? And if it was so easy, why hasn't it been really done and maintained for the last 50 years? Let's be realistic. Realistic. Being done and maintained where it's well known. You won't have to say the Amish or the Jews or the Chinese. You'll say, here's the Black African-American Muslims doing that. Owned by them, built by them. Come on. Let's stop fantasizing. That doesn't mean it's not something we should think about, but we should think about why we can't do it and fix that first. Do you follow my point? And I'll tell you why we can't do it. So we don't even waste our time. And because people come to me all the time, I'm like, come on, man, I got time for that. We got to talk real stuff. Number one, we're not united on a common objective. That's number one. We have to have a reason why we're doing that. Just generally Muslim don't work. It's obvious. It hasn't saved our communities, right? So we have to get on the same objective. Then we need community that rolls together, that sticks together. And there is no community without leadership. So we need leadership that we agree on. Right? And then we need a purpose. Once we put all that stuff together, and I give you, let's be realistic. Come on, let's be realistic. Sister Khadijah put New Africa in Mississippi, Imam Wharf D. Muhammad community. How many of you willing to move there right now? Be honest. That's a community, and they've been doing it for years. How many of you are willing to move there right now and follow the leadership there and do what's necessary to build that? How many of us are really willing to move there? Let's be honest here. Come on. Honest talk. How many going to move there? Under the leadership, under the structure, we going. Let's go. You see what I'm talking about? For whatever the reasons. So even though it's happening collectively, we're not there yet for a reason. And that's like some of us just is not being real. We know most of us, right, gonna find an issue with the leadership. That's gonna be the first issue before we get to anything else. Man, why is he don't got enough knowledge? This, they ain't on the right minhaj. All that's gonna play a factor. That's real stuff. I'm not saying it's not legitimate, or it is legitimate. I'm saying it's an issue that we have to address before we start talking about idealistic things that we're not going to do anyway. We're just wasting time. When we can talk about the real issues, fix those issues, and then get together on those issues, and then start building. But here we all have the same creed. We all on the same page, and we can't even get $500 together a week. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, explain to me how it works in your mind. I'm open. The mics are here. Explain to me how that works without compromising our religious principles and where we at. Tell me how it works. I mean, let me understand, because I'm down. I've done it. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. I've done it. But I've seen what that looks like. I grew up as an Ansar, so we did it. We were one of the best. I lived it. Not talk. I lived it, right? We were one of the best at doing what you're talking about. But I could tell you the backdrops to that stuff too. I could tell you why it didn't work. I could tell you a lot of that. You say there wasn't the best. Give me a community that did what we're talking about at that level all around the country and for that long. That did that. And talking about living in the cities. I'm not talking about not owning your own stuff. I'm not talking about working for Mr. Charlie. I'm talking about doing all of that. You don't have many people who did that. African Americans? Stop. Stop. Not being realistic. That's what I'm talking about. Not being real. Stop. Let me give you their work. In the Ansar community, they brought in $30,000 a day at minimum every single day for decades. Come on, man. Stop playing games. Stop talking. We ain't willing to sacrifice 10 minutes, let alone talking about real building something like that. That doesn't mean we can't do it. But stop. Myself was given $700 a week. Me alone, one person. Every man had to do that. Let's be real. Every man had to do that. You had to be a man. Let me give any of you brothers here right now, be honest. Give me one group today existing, one effort you're going to give $700 a week to. One of you. Be honest. Come on, let's be honest. We're not that committed. We're talking. And let's stop talking and let's be committed to something realistic. Let's stop fantasizing. We're getting old. We got gray. Stop playing games. Let's be honest. How many of you, brothers, there's a lot of men. How many of you going to give $700 a week to anything? Be honest. Don't tell me I would. Tell me where you're giving to somebody $700 a week. Give me. I know that you're right. That's going to be the question. To build our nation, $700 a week. Let's do it. How many of you going to do it? Let's keep it real. But that's what it takes to do that. It takes people who are going to sacrifice. Seriously. You're talking if you're not willing to do that. You're just talking junk. You're talking about building a real nation. You're talking about building a real nation. You can't do that with $5. It's not real. It's fake. It's dreaming. Some of us can't. We just was talking about some women complaining we can't even take care of our wife. How are you going to build a community? You can't even take care of your family. You have to take care of your family and do that. We're not, let's be realistic here. I'm only saying that because I lived it. I know what it takes. Most of us can't survive without Mr. Charlie. You have to go to Mr. Charlie. You're not even have enough in your own mind to survive without Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie became your daddy. And when you build a nation, no one can be your daddy. You have to be a man. This is being real. I didn't say make $100, $700. I said give $700. I didn't say make it. I said give it. Stop playing games. I'm sorry. You talk to the wrong guy to like fantasize. I don't do that. Now, some people may get upset about that, but, well, look, I don't see that nowhere. And if you want to show it to me, show me. I think there's other issues we got to tackle first. Those issues that we refuse to tackle are the very issues why we don't do it. So I don't want to talk about Aqidah, but it's because of Aqidah and other issues why we don't even start the process. I'm not working with them because I don't have the same Aqidah. That's an issue. You got to solve that issue. Or at least you got to find those people that have that same Aqidah and y'all got to come together and do it. These are just real stuff. I'm sorry. I know I have the mic and I opened the mic for anyone and I'm listening. Hey, I don't duck wreck. We can have this conversation. You're welcome to come in and prove me wrong. But I'm a man. I'm going to challenge you. Trust me. I'm going to challenge you. So, and it ain't got to be an argument. We can have a real discussion. Because Imam Faheem, do you got those kind of men in your masjid?
Nah.
Let's keep it real, man. I know I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. That's why we got to have fundraisers. That's why all of our masjids are having fundraisers, because we don't got those kind of men. I never, since I was a kid, till I left the Ansars, ever saw a fundraiser. Ever. Not one. I never saw a fundraiser. Never. Not one. No such thing as a fundraiser. And they built masjids from the ground up. They built real estate. They had their own land. They had businesses. Never one time have I ever seen a fundraiser. It's from my youth to adulthood. I never. And I left and I was like just turning 18. I never saw a fundraiser. Ever. And that's in Brooklyn, bro, with brownstones. You know how much money that stuff costs? I'm just saying I seen it. I'm not talking out the side of my neck. I lived it. And I know what it takes. We sat down and did the math of what it takes. Man, that stuff's work, bro. We can't be talking. It's work. I wish we would do it, but I don't see it. And if somebody see it, yo, show me. I'm open. So let's talk about something. And let me put the link up again. If you disagree and you can show me how, I'm all ears. You're welcome to join in and show me how it works. The link is there. Show me how it works. Be realistic. And then don't talk, but I want to see what you're doing. Right? What are you doing to manifest that? You, the one who got these great ideas. How are you doing it? How are you bringing it to realization? Because maybe you have the answer and we don't, and we should be listening to you. All ears. I'm all ears.
Okay, until they come on, you want to go to the next one?
I'm sorry, man, Faheem. I just...
No, it's all good.
I would love to see that, but I know what it takes. It ain't talk. Talk ain't going to get it. Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Question: if a single male has his own everything, why would he need a woman to assist him in anything? If she's moving into his home and takes care of her own personal stuff, yeah, in that instance, he probably wouldn't, you know. But how often is this an occurrence nowadays? In that instance, he wouldn't, and probably most men, he wouldn't even want a woman to take care of anything. But man is up and he's financially stable. A man who's worth his weight in manhood. He's not going to want a woman to contribute everything. He'll take care of everything from A to Z. So if that's the situation, he wouldn't need a woman. But that's really not likely. In these days and times. We living this is America, Jack. We reserve the right to have an abundance just to choose to waste. That's our reality. We're not really being like, frugal or, stuff like that. But and Allah knows best.
Uh-oh. Here come the fake answer. No, where you can live in the dunya and then be an answer. I'm joking. I'm just messing with Farouk.
So his question was for sisters in the chat, so not for us really.
If your husband could financially retire you from working on the condition you cannot work on any kind, or your obligation was to take care of the family, would you agree to those terms? Ooh, let me hear the answer to that. Sisters, could y'all answer that? I'm interested. Can we get some sisters to answer that? Man, that's a good question.
Yeah, I can answer on behalf of my wife. Oh yeah, she would love that, and it was like that for a brief spell.
Oh, see, yeah, I would love to hear this one because I don't believe it, but because we have this thing called a just in case fund. How many of you sisters have a just in case fund? Just in case this don't work fund. Because you won't have a just in case fund if this is the case. So how many of you have a just in case fund? We had this talk, the just in case fund. Just in case this joker decide to act up. See, look. So stop capping, right? Oh, I'll definitely do it. No, he don't want you to have no just in case fund. Farouk he wants you to be at his beck and command and you rely on him. Uh-oh. Here comes trouble. Right? No joke. Okay. We're gonna have to take, so I'm gonna leave that down.
No just in case fund, just $20 in your wallet for emergencies.
Yeah, no just in case.
Your purse.
All right, hold up. So we got everybody in there. So we're gonna go with Sister Isla. You first. Go for it.
Can you read the question? Assalamu alaikum, first of all. To the Imams and to the 3453 family. Could you read the question? I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, now you need glasses, right? So, if your husband could financially retire you from working on the condition you could not work of any kind and your obligation was to take care of the family, would you agree to the terms?
Yes.
Of course you would. I would too if I had your husband.
Even if I didn't have the lovely husband that I have, and I'm so grateful for, Amin. Even if I didn't have you as a husband, and I had a husband that was able to retire me, and all I had to do was be a wife, because a stay-at-home mom is not easy. So that is a work in itself. But if my husband, if that's something we agreed on, I can't speak for every sister. I can just speak for myself. If that's something that we agreed on, then no, I wouldn't mind doing that. If that's something that we did not agree on, maybe I, stayed at home for a period of time while we had children. And once the children were older and going to school, I would like to go back out and work again. That's something again that me and my husband will have to agree on.
But no, what Farouk is talking about, you see, we gotta put context, no cap.
Okay.
Farouk wants you under his control. So that's why he said you could not emphasize not work of any kind. So there's no self-preservation fund.
But maybe Brother Farouk should get on so he and I could discuss this, because being under your control, then that means, right, if you're paying the bills and I don't have any, overhead for myself, then are you giving me allowance for my personals?
No.
Or do I have to ask you? Or do I have to ask you for money even when I have to go get my personal?
You have to ask him for money. He's gonna give you your basic needs, and that's it. And if he decides you need extra outside of the religious rules, he will determine that. But he provides what you're supposed to have according to the law, and that's it. Do you accept?
I would accept with some stipulation. I have to take that back.
Right?
You do what I tell you.
No,
don't touch that mailbox.
Eat the cake, Anime. Eat the cake. No, I accept, but I'm not talking about living luxury and living lavishly. If you can provide me with the basics.
You left. 1 second. El Minstro, can you come out and come back in? All right, there you go. All right,
if you can provide me with the basics, then I could accept that. But I still think it's a conversation. I don't think it's as black and white as those words stated. I still think it's a conversation to be had. But I could accept those words.
Okay. Do you think most sisters from your experience would accept that?
No, not if it's just like a absolute, you can never work.
He put a modifier on it. His last comment. He said, if a briefcase of money with the money to retire you from work was offered to you with the condition you could not work of any kind, with the condition, you take care of the family. So the bread, the bag that you're getting is enough to satisfy you. All you gotta do is take care of the home.
Then at this point, with those words, I would be able to do that. Do I think most women? I think at least half the women would do that.
Okay.
Can I throw one in there?
I think half the women would do that.
Now, do you think that women could resist the urge to feel like, that they're being controlled and they have to do something so they don't feel like they're under a man's control? Could they resist that urge?
And you know what? See, I'm coming from personal experience. So personal experience, I'm a single mother. So if somebody gave me the opportunity to stay home and raise my child, I don't, you got to put your ego. You got to rise above your own self, rise above your ego. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but that takes work on both sides. You should be just as appreciative of me staying home and raising our children than I am of you by giving me that opportunity to stay home and raise my children. If you're going to treat me like I'm a slave, like you own me, like I'm property, then, and if you're going to walk around and think that, that it's an ownership and, it takes away from our partnership, then, that adds problems. That adds problems. If you're doing it, to truly build a healthy family unit, then I think it would be okay. But if you're doing it and you're going to mistreat me in the interim of doing what you think is noble, then that's why I said it would have to be a full conversation with all concerns aired.
No. All right, Sister Isla, we're gonna let Brother El Minstro. I have messed this brother's name up all the time.
El Minstro.
El
Minstro. Assalamu alaikum.
Go ahead, Akhi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. What's going on with y'all? My first question, I put in the chat, I don't think y'all caught it. It was how can we repair the gap from the elders and the youth? Because the reason why I brought this up, because I'm born and raised from Orange, so I go to Al Sunnah, right? What I see in there, I'm always talking to the youth. It's a huge gap between the youth and the elders. Like no bad communications, like no grooming each other. So it's like, I think you mentioned this before in one of your the Black Imams Roundtable. It's how like the youth ain't getting none of that wisdom or them Jews from like the elders and stuff like that. And then the youth is just like so separated from the elders. It's like it's just a dead bad communication, no communication, and just a dead bond all in one. So
Let me ask you a better question to that.
That.
Where do you place yourself? I don't know how old you are.
I'm 36.
All right, so you still with the youth. Well,
somewhat.
No, you old head.
I'm like a young old head, yeah.
Right. So in your own community, right? Keep it real.
I keep it real.
What do you think in your own community the struggle is from your observation?
I do my best actually to keep it on the aisle. My own situation, I'm in the streets with it. I'm marked everywhere I go. I'm trying to give out like some type of helpful, good Jews, and anywhere I can, honestly.
But no, I'm talking about in your community. So like in your Muslim community, you said there's this gap.
Oh yeah, well I be bridging the gap. I be talking to them. You know, I be trying to lead by example with manners. Like if I hear little bros talking to each other, like one time I heard them like, "Hey, stupid." I'm like, "Bro, don't talk to your brother like that." Like, no, man, it's your brother. Deal with him with etiquette. We Muslims and stuff like that.
My thing, the Prophet ﷺ said, I think this will solve our problem. It's work though. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever does not respect our elders and have mercy for our young is not from us. If we get that concept, the elders have experience that we may not have. I'm talking about at each level, right? So we have to have a reverence for that experience, whether it's knowledge, whether it's practical experience, life experience. They have some stuff. And likewise, the youth are going to go through what they go through, and the elders must be merciful in that development. And if we bring those two things together, I think that gap can be minimized. Right. Reverence for the elders and understanding that you've got to go through their changes. That's hard because a lot of times the elders sometimes forget when they were youth and they've matured and experienced, and they're like, you don't got to make these same mistakes. But young people ain't got your experience, so they ain't looking it through your lens. No, so it's got to be a mercy there. But that young got to learn to say, hey, you know, some of the elders, they've seen stuff I ain't seen. They've been down that block before. When we join those two, I think in my opinion, I think it would work.
I have like two more short questions in one. I had another statement I had put in the chat. I said we need to get like some sociology lessons from the prophetic traditions, and that's like one of the things that coincide with one of the things you just said, like as far as like that hadith, and that way we could probably bridge the gap between the youth and the elders. But I think it's so many other lessons. Like one of them, treat people how you want to be treated. That's also a narration from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, people do a lot of quoting in ahadith. I'm just like you, Imam Naeem. I hate that. Like, be real, be yourself. And there's a lot of people out here, they just don't know how to be themselves anymore. Plus, I wanted to say, I think with the imams who codify and systemize sciences, I think we need to do that again with everything from sociology to psychology. It's stuff we could do that, and we don't got to even look outside of Islam from the main part, and stuff that we could probably add on that don't got nothing to do with no shirk or bid'ah, nothing with that too as well.
Okay. Are you good? Or
yeah, I had more, but you know, sometimes my head be on 1,000. I can't think of everything right there and there.
Hey, do you know Muawiyah? He from your land.
We following each other. I ain't found out he was from Newark until y'all said something one time when I told y'all why.
Yeah, he grew up in your masjid.
El Minister, you know what we got to do? We got to have more men that got Timbs like they do in Camden.
Nah, real talk.
All right, Habibi, Barakallahu bikum. Thank you for joining us.
Shalom alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
All right, we over time, but I don't know if anyone else is coming. But let's finish up these last.
Okay. I
questions.
just wanted to add to that real quick. You know,
Right.
we got to remember to take the youth where they are and how they come, and the youth just have to really relearn respect again. You know, as you said, you know, we can't do it through our lens. You know, we can't say that these, you know, they're different breeds, so we have to let them be the different breed that they are. They're not raised like us, and we can't accept them to be like us. And it's hard sometimes. It's hard to really, you know, when, you know, they don't have a certain kind of work ethic, you know. And for us as parents, and I just want to say this, you know, we didn't raise our children like the way we were raised, but we expect the same kind of outcome. We expect them to have the same kind of principles and stuff. You know, and we like they should be like this, or it should work like this, or when I was growing up, yeah, but you didn't have the heart that your parents had. They didn't entitle you with everything. They didn't spoil you with everything. They didn't give you everything that they didn't have. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what we did. We give our kids everything that we didn't have, and we expect them to behave like we did when we didn't have nothing. You know, and that's a problem. You know.
No, there's a last question I had, unless there's some more.
Okay, question. What should we do to help the young men and women who are new shahadas to adjust to their new way of life in Islam? They come to Deen with baggage, drugs, partying, beefing, gang life, mainly our young people in our black business communities. You know, see them as reflections, because that's a lot of us came like that. You know, a lot of the Sahabas came like that. And with the Prophet ﷺ, what did he do? He took them where they were and he nurtured them, you know, and he gave them a different outlook. He gave them a different perspective, you know. And once they understood La ilaha illallah, he walked with them. He talked to them. He listened to them, and he just gave them advice, you know. And so we just got to take them where they are and just remember it is a different time from where we are, you know what I mean? You know, a lot of these kids are, you know, sad to say, a lot of them, you know, born out of wedlock. You know, a lot of them born to mothers who were traumatized, fathers who never wanted to really be fathers. It would, you know, a lot of these kids were, you know, they were born out of a rendezvous, you know, and so they don't really have any kind of like proper upbringing. They got some elements of respect, and you know, and these kids are growing up. At least they have the, you know, the sense to become Muslim. We got to really take them where they are and do a little research on them and really walk with them. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, and it's a painstaking effort, you know, to walk with somebody, you know, from A to Z, but we got to do it because this is an increasing thing, you know, with a lot of, you know, kids coming up and before they even fully develop, you know, they burnt out on drugs, they partying, you know, the gang culture, you know, people having, you know, double loyalties and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just a lot of work we got to do, you know. Like, yeah, we got to take them by the hand, you know.
And I'm just telling you, honestly, we really have to work on learning the deen and actually applying it in our lives. I think that's the best way to help youth, to let them see you serious, right? That Islam as a way of life has impacted your life. Uh-oh, here come the people of Bid'ah. What a dolly. Honestly, you know, I want to tell y'all something. For me, what kept me in Deen is that coming up, I was around soldiers and men who were serious, even though they were misguided, as I know now, in creed. They weren't on the correct creed of Ahl Sunnah. but they was men. They were soldiers. They were dedicated. And I look today, those memories stick in my mind from when I was a kid. Like, Muslims ain't a joke. Muslims are not silly people. And I'm talking about in terms of what they're doing. They're committed. And so I look at it now as if we got the sunnah and we got the correct aqidah, then we got to be much better, right? That's what I saw. So today I have my mind still has that, even though we don't have the doctrine, but that mindset, I still have that kind of mind, right? That's why I seem so pushy. I'm like, we can't be fake. We got to be soldiers, right? Men got to be men. Each man got to feel like the whole community's on my back. When the kids see men like that, and there's a bunch of us and women like that, they're inspired. I want to be down. Everybody like to see strong people. No one wants to see weak, defeated, people. They want to see people who's rolling, especially the youth. They want to see results. They don't want to hear lectures. They don't care about lectures. They want to see results. Even if it ain't money, but substance, change. That's what I think is going to solve that problem. When we serious, but young people, man, they see when we full of it. They see when we live in two lives. They see that, right? So we got to fix that part, inshallah. We're going to bring on, some people. Now, joking. Go ahead, Sayyidi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. I don't have much to say except to kind of add on to something that I heard Imam Amin say, and the other brother who happens to be from the same community as me that came on earlier, about getting young people into the religion. And I was just talking to Imam Amin, and he remembers earlier today when we were driving in the car, I was talking about the importance of community, the importance of having a support system around you, those who love you, those who support you, and those who have a common goal as you in trying to practice the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, Islam is a communal religion. It was not meant to be practiced by yourself. That doesn't mean that if you don't have a community around you that you're not under an obligation to perform your obligations and to stay away from the prohibitions. Of course, you still have to be a Muslim. You still have to follow all of the rules. But being around Muslims and being around a community, being around those that will support you, this thing is what will help you. And I really think that for a lot of the young people, the destruction of our communities, the dysfunction that's present within the Muslim community has chased a lot of young people away. We have to look at the state of our communities and ask ourselves, why would a young person want to be a part of this? And then the elders also have to look at themselves and say that this is the community that we created. So part of the responsibility is upon the elders, but part of the responsibility is also the youth. They have to take responsibility for themselves. But like Imam Amin said, young people have a tendency, they can smell hypocrisy from a mile away. They can smell nifaq. And I can tell you myself, first and foremost, growing up in the community, the people that I respected the most, the people that I followed the most, they weren't those who constantly had that's haram, don't do this, you can't do this, that. It was those who exuded good character, the character of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those that we knew weren't hypocrites in their practice, that everything that they told us to do, everything that they advised us with, we saw it in their lives. We saw them doing it themselves, and we saw the good effects that it had. And not only that, calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with firmness and not, giving, way to falsehood, being firm upon the truth, but also doing that with mercy. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, had you been harsh with them, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they would have fled away from you. And we all know the famous hadith, Ar-Rahimuna yarhamhum ar-Rahman, yarham man fil ardi yarhamukum man fis sama. That, you know, have mercy on the people on the earth, and that the Lord of the heavens will have mercy on you. I know Imam Amin is smiling because he wants to see I'm going to translate this hadith. That's not the time for it, Sheikh.
Pause.
But seriously, that calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rectifying the state of our communities, and calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with firmness and conviction, but at the same time doing it with good character and doing it with mercy, that will go a long way with young people. It'll bring young people in. And I've told this to many an imam and, you know, elders within my own community multiple times. Young people, they don't need another lecture on this is haram, this is haram, this is haram. If you don't do this, you're going to burn in the hellfire and everything. Like for the young people that grew up Muslim, that grew up in the masjid, they know that it's haram. They know it's not right. They've been hearing about Jannah and Jahannam their entire lives. Okay, you've told them that, but now you have to give them a reason why they want to be part of this community. They have to see the goodness that comes out of it. Because for some people, just listening to the, you know, the wa'ad and the wa'id that's in the Quran and the Sunnah, it should be enough, ideally, but we have to recognize the reality that that's not the reality for most people, especially young people that have all of these temptations in the dunya that are calling them away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, away from the path of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it's upon all of us to, you know, call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ. This is my path. Say, this is my path, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I call to Allah. But what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Upon basira, upon wisdom and guidance. Like, we have to find a way to be people of basira, of wisdom and guidance, and calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And, you know, that's all I had to say. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, Muawiyah. It's good to hear from you, man.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
You know something, I want to say something. Brother, blah, 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 what's his name? We have a couple more seconds. I would like to hear from you. Brother Najib, this is the link inside, but you gotta hurry up. We closing out in a minute. But that's the link in the comments. You can come through that link. Where Muawiyah? I was gonna mess with him. No, really? Muawiyah, can you come back real quick?
Hurry up. I'll be here waiting for you.
Where you at? Who told you to get on the spot? Come right back. I want to say something really. Here you go.
I'm back.
I want to say something about Brother Muawiyah, because to me, I love Muawiyah. He's really, like, you know, he has a bright future to me. Honestly, I see so much good in him, right? But I want to say this: he's an example of good upbringing, right? He's an example of good upbringing. And through that good upbringing, we benefit from the results of that. His parents did an excellent job in raising him, right? And he's an example of what, because he's involved. He is the Imam that takes my place when I'm not there, which is all the time. Even when I'm there, he's up front because he's responsible, he's trustworthy, he knows what he's doing. And I can sit down and give the younger people the opportunity to get experience and to benefit. And that's important, you know, and we need to facilitate that. So I'm saying it works, right? It works. And he's an example at Masjid Muhammad of what good parenting, good brotherhood, good mentoring that he had before he came to Masjid Muhammad. It rubbed off. And he's young man, old enough to be your daddy. You know, so, but he's a worker. He don't be just talking. He's in it. Good manners, good behavior, and handle it. That's what we need. So he's not talking just idea. He actually lives what he's talking. He's married. He has his family. He's doing what he needs to do. That's an example of a young man that we're looking for, right? So I can attest to what he's saying. He lives it. It's not just talk, right? And so may Allah reward his parents and those mentors that were there for him. Okay. So yeah, it's I just wanted to say that because sometimes we worry about where the young people, they right there and they doing great work, and I can attest to that, right? They are available. We just have to make way for them, give them the opportunity, and let them shine, and not be worrying about our positions so we don't let them shine because, you know, I can't let you overshine me with your good old Arabic. But alhamdulillah, so he's an example, and inshallah, he will be leaving us in a few weeks to go continue his studies overseas. He will be sadly missed, and I will probably be more stressed out and more grays. But alhamdulillah, thanks for saving some of these grays while you were here. No, I'm joking. Barakallahu bikum. Inshallah.
Embarrassing me.
And no, I tell you all the time, man, you got to be out front. We got to get out the way. When we got some good people, we got to let them fly. Stop trying to clip people's wings for your own security. Let them go. Let them fly. Let them take it to another level we couldn't do. We getting old. We can't do the same thing. We need young people. If you're given the same to get to our age in leadership, with mentoring, with help, man, we'd be further ahead. We're talking about 20 years, more than that, 30 years. Just imagine 30 years of leadership with the guidance of your elders, with the support, with the financial. What would it look like 30 years from now? You watched 30 years. No, not 30, but you know, you watched 2 decades. What about 30 years of support? We can do it, you know? So inshallah, may Allah make it easy. Barakallahu bikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm so sorry, man. This gave me a problem. As soon as I tried to get in, everything started freezing up. So if you want to continue a different time, I don't want to hold your time.
No, go ahead. What you had to say, brother? I don't want to hold you up. I don't want to. You might lose your thoughts. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, so I'm from North, like Muawiyah. I never met him though. I was in Egypt. We wasn't in Egypt at the same time. But man, what I wanted to say in a nutshell is this. The elders, man, I know Muslim youth. I'm 31, right? So I come from the generation that was raised in the 90s, in the 2000s. Mm-hmm. And what I can say is the Muslim youth and my generation grew up in dysfunction. Period. There's no other way around it. pure dysfunction. The stuff we saw that was, I mean, at the match, fighting in the Masjid. Think about this is stuff that was actually happening. We see men, women fighting over a man. We see our next day, you don't even know your father got another wife. Next thing you know, you got kids coming to your house. This is real stuff, right? Then Muslim youth my age was getting the men was beating the Muslim youth up, punching them and beating them up, and then talking to them like they nothing. I mean, I witnessed some of these things with my own eyes, so I'm not speaking from third narration. I'm speaking from an eye view, right? This is the things that we had to grow up in. Hypocrisy. Oh, you know, everything is haram. You can't do this, you can't do that. But then you see the same elder somewhere. You're like, whoa, is that him with her or her with him? Wasn't they just telling us? So because of that, the youth don't respect the elders. They don't respect them. And quite frankly, I don't want to be extreme, but I think they have good reason. Not all the elders, because we do have honorable elders. But generally speaking, so I'm 31. So think about this, right? I'm saying from 31 to 40. From the early 40s to my age and younger, we all grew up in this. Now, you guys grew up in a different era where you saw men. We didn't see that. We saw people coming home. We saw people coming home from bids, right? You see them in the mat. This is no disrespect, but this is what we saw. I'm from the projects too. So we seen brothers coming home from, I'm from Pendleton Court. I'm from the down net, north. You know, if you from up here, you'll know. But I'm saying we seen brothers come home, right? They go to the jail, and then they telling everybody what they can do, but then you see them hustling. They moving, they the biggest mover on the corner. But he got 2 Muslim wives and that cover niqab. Make that make sense. Now, how are we supposed to rationalize and make sense of that? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a lot that go into it. It's not just the youth it's like, oh, the youth, man, they this and they that, and there's a bunch of criticism for the youth. And I don't see the elders taking accountability. That's rare. That's a rare sight.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What is it that, despite all that dysfunction, that you focused on doing the right thing?
My family.
So similar to what Muawiyah had.
My family. Because if it wasn't for my family, I grew up in the hood. My hood crit. I ain't gang bang because I had a good family. I got my advice from my family who wasn't Muslim. Wasn't Muslim. I took my shahada from my uncle Abdullah, who Imam Faheem knows very well. So my family, we had Edda. Like I learned more manners from my family than the Muslim community, no doubt. So I don't have that trauma personally, right? But listen, man, I've been married. I'm married now, but the Muslim women shook to death to come to the masjid. Shook, trauma. They're literally scared to come to the masjid because they're going to get the looks. They're going to get the judgment. They don't want to come to the masjid, right? This is a reality. So we have to say, how was this precedent set? Where did it start? Why did it start? We have to be inquisitive. We have to try to get to the issues, but just blanket statements like, oh, well, the youth, they tripping or they not like how we used to be. I mean, that's cap. I'm calling cap. It's my opinion, and I think I speak for a lot of people.
No, you're absolutely right.
You're speaking from the youth.
From my perspective, that's the only thing I could do.
Right,
yeah,
from your eyes.
Absolutely.
What needs to be changed, and how do you think we can do it gradually?
I think I put more onus on the elders. This is just me. The elders should have more knowledge, more experience, more guidance. And us as youth, we full of energy, but really no direction, but full of potential at the same time. I think if the youth humble themselves, honestly, I think it's a humility problem. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. So meet the youth where they are, like Imam Faheem said. Come to them. Mentor them. A lot of young people didn't grow without a father. So you're not just a sheikh, you're a murabbi. Remember, you are a murabbi, rabbaniyun. That's what we really need. It's like, go to the mustashfa. I'll shoot like, mustashfa, like the hospital. So you got to take this into context. When you're dealing with a young person, you have to be a Rabbani, which means like I don't know how I'll translate it, but like a lordly person, for lack of translation.
Who takes people stages by stages?
By stages. That's what we in need of, in my opinion. The youth are broken. They broken. You dealing with broken. This is what I'm going to say. No matter what you tell them, they're not going to be able to take it in if it's not some repairment. So my opinion would be imams who, not just imams, because it's not everything don't fall on the imam, but elders, men and women. Of course. I respect you. I respect y'all. Like, I look at y'all as my elders. Y'all our salaf. Like, seriously. So, but for the elders to come down a little bit, like, listen, young brother, like, these are the mistakes that I made, and I want to help you. And how can we do that?
Go ahead.
Straight up.
I want to share something with you too, and this is something I want you to consider, because this is a group effort.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the elders had the same problem you talking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw dysfunction themselves.
Right.
And some of us are just learning how to be men ourselves.
Yes.
So keep that in your mind, right?
Right.
I say this all the time, right? We didn't have elders readily available for us that we could touch.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned to become men through the fire.
Right.
Do you understand my point? So, like, honestly, when we was coming up, we was a lot younger than you. The elders were afraid of us in the hood. They wouldn't say anything to us.
Right.
So we were just running amok with nobody to say anything. So these young, because we came up in the crack era.
Right.
Bass, dope, money, when drugs was pouring all over the black community.
Right.
So we didn't have that either. So now that one you seeing as the elder, remember, he was suffering from the same neglect you're talking about.
Right. And I'm happy you said that, Sheikh.
So,
but how many elders would say, how many elders would say,
the youth got to understand we all trying to connect.
Right. I agree. But what you just expressed right now, how many elders that would say that in front of the youth?
He's getting
probably not many.
You see what I'm talking about?
But that's why we say we need each other.
Because now that you open up as an elder, I feel like I can relate to you.
Go ahead.
I said, now that you say that as an elder, and you openly admit that, now as a youth, I can relate to you. You feel more closer. You feel touchable. You feel like someone I could trust.
Yeah, I would like to say on behalf of those elders who failed the youth, we sorry, and a lot of elders, they probably didn't know, but I can tell you this.
Yeah,
you can identify elders like us because we getting up there. One of the things that I like to do is take young brothers like yourself, show me the way of how I can relate to those other youth. I'm willing to do it. So
right.
when I'm engaging them, I try to talk on their level without dumbing it down too much. I listen to their music, I listen to their slang.
Right.
I try to pay attention to trends, and I try to keep it but respectable, because like my daughter said something to me today. I was like, I used the word cap, and she was like, "Don't say cap, Dad. It's not age appropriate for you." I'm just trying to relate, but trying to let you know that I'm up on your slang. I mean, I don't know, but this is the kind of things that we can do. So, me, Imam Amin, Imam Naeem, we don't have our problem putting our hands in yours and showing us how to do it. And matter of fact, the next time I come to North, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Right now, you're looking on the stage, right?
Right.
You see that brother over there?
Yeah, I see my Masjid. Yeah.
All of us been through it.
Yeah.
So you got brothers, and that's why we said Black Imams Roundtable.
Right.
Because a lot of us got real experiences, real stuff. The
Right.
same pain you talking about, we was talking about when we were sitting in them institutions.
Yeah.
We felt that pain and we seen it a lot, right? So for us, we've matured enough to realize, we don't want to see the next generation go through what we went through. Right? So I remember, I'm gonna tell you, I was in Florence, Colorado, in the feds. This brother, he was from Fort Worth, Texas. No, 5th Ward. Where's 5th Ward, Abdullah? That's Houston?
5th Ward.
In Texas. That's Houston, Texas?
Yeah, Houston.
The Ghetto Boys. Where they from? Houston.
Houston, yeah.
So this brother, his name was Ironhead. I hope he listened. I'm looking for him. So Ironhead, if you anywhere out there, I'm trying to catch back up with you. We was in Florence, Colorado together, right? And he told me something, because I was the Imam inside, right? So he told me something. He wasn't a Muslim. He said to me, Brother Amin, he said, I'm sick and tired of this stuff. My daddy went to jail. My so-and-so went to, he was like this going his family. He said, and now my children are going, he had like, maybe at that time, like 24 years or something, right?
Wow.
And he said to me in the most strongest words, I never forgot it. He said, man, this stuff got to stop. And I'm going to be the one that changes it. It got to stop. And that's how we have to be, right? It got to stop. Every dysfunction you see, don't you repeat it. And connect with those elders who have that same mindset. Together we can make it.
Right.
Ourselves, and neither can you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we got to have real talk, because a lot of us can't have real talk.
Yeah.
It's all cat, as you see, right?
But look, that's what the youth want to hear. Like my interactions with the youth, because I teach Arabic to kids. Like I focus on young people. I teach them basic Quran, basic fiqh, from what I study with my teachers. And they just want to feel like it's real. They just want to feel like it's authentic. Like that's the main thing. Like they feel like it's so fake. That's the number one thing I get. So the fact that you saying these things, like that's all we want to hear. And it's not to put y'all down, because y'all still have a high standing, right? But is that relatability? Is that to say, man, you went through that? Wow. Okay. Then I know I could overcome that, because look where you are. Right. So I think that's the main thing from my personal interactions with people from my generation. They just want to feel like they're not being deceived. From my experience.
Sheikh Abdul Muhammad, what's happening, Habibi?
Assalamu alaikum, how you doing?
Walaikum salam.
Well,
yeah,
I just wanted to check in with your face. I'm back on this side of the water. I need to let you know I'm reporting for duty. We ain't talked in a while. Inshallah.
What are you up to? What are you doing? Tell me.
I'm still with Table, and currently I'm working part-time with a group of Muslim students at a private college in Iowa. I'm in Des Moines right now.
Des Moines where?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Iowa, so you're not in Georgia no more?
No, I was in Ghana for the last couple of years.
I know that, but I didn't know if you went back home or you went.
Well, I'm going back, but right now I'm working with them for the school year.
Okay.
It's a part-time position I got with them right now. Inshallah, I'll make sure it's something full-time, because they need to be able to service the young people that stay about 30, 40 Muslim students there. So,
okay.
We'll see how it works out.
So we need to be connecting and get to work. You know what I mean? How long you been back?
Yeah. I got back last December. I came back in December.
Oh, you just got back?
Yeah.
No, last year or this year?
This December. I just got back December the 6th. I think it was the 6th.
All right. I won't accuse you of committing kaba'ir in relationships, right? Alhamdulillah, right? We love you, Habibi, and we roll. How that go? So
Yeah.
get the
That's why I
tabari.
said, you know,
Let's
I was real. I would check in with you from time to time, being over across the seas. I got a lot of different things I'm trying to finish up doing right now.
Inshallah.
Like I said, I'll report for duty. Inshallah, I'll give you a call later. Hopefully you answer
Okay.
that phone call. Got to put that
No.
one out there.
Just text, because I may have the wrong number. So text. You know, I don't answer my phone if I don't know who it is. Right?
Inshallah.
We
Inshallah.
might be the people, so I don't answer everything.
Inshallah.
We able to come to Iowa?
Of course. Inshallah, as time goes on, like I said, we expand this thing here, we're going to be doing some more stuff. Inshallah, you know. But,
Okay.
like I said, we get in touch and see what Allah will be able to open up for us to do. I do want to know when y'all going to have, I know y'all were having the conference. Y'all going to do the conference this year?
Yeah, we are. We're looking at September. We have the date for September. Is it September?
Okay.
We had the date for September because we're doing like bi-monthly programs. In fact, this Saturday and Sunday, let me plug it real quick.
Shameless plug.
We have the riwayah of Al-Arba'in Al-Nawawiyya and riwayah and diraya, both the narration and explanation. And we're going to have some surprise teachers that are going to be doing the narration with us. So it'll be this weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6. Next month, the first week of March, we have another exciting program coming, but we'll announce that after this one is done. So the first week and every month, first or second week, we're going to be having programs, especially after Ramadan, till we get up to the pace we were before COVID, inshallah.
Well, I'm gonna do my best to be there for that. I got after the school year is over, end of June, going into July, I'm going to check on the family. And I got to work on getting the visas and stuff. So I got to go back and check on them in June, sometime July. And inshallah, I could be back and I'll check in with y'all in September,
All right.
inshallah.
Just hit us up, so inshallah. All right, if anyone else.
Within the next week or two, you hear from me, inshallah.
Okay, barakallahu bikum, inshallah. Hey, listen, and brother Najib, don't say a stranger, man. We need to all link up.
Nah, and you know what? I need to read Aqidah Tahawiyya.
That we start connecting the dots.
This is a shameless plug, but I need to read Aqidah Tahawiyya. I need to read Aqidah Tahawiyya with you. Shameless plug. But hey, I'm sorry.
Any day you ready, this is our life.
I told Imam Naeem that too.
This is what we like to do. We just Imam Naeem just did a work, and we're going to be going. We should be coming to Newark soon.
Yeah, okay. Let me know.
I mean, it's like soon. Like we're still just working on the logistics, but we will be in Newark within the next 2 to 3 months.
Oh, yeah, let me know. Let me know. We can set sign up.
And inshallah, but we should plug and connect and
No, we should, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate the work y'all do.
Hit me in the inbox to let me.
Yeah, let's read that. Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, I owe you a lunch day too, Najib. We missed.
Hey, look, Imam Faheem came up. I was going to take him out for lunch.
Pause. You hear what he just said? Pause.
What?
Let me get away from this dude. He told me he want to take you to lunch. That almost sounds like he want to take you shopping.
Come on, Sheikh. Come on, Sheikh.
Nah,
come on, Sheikh.
Pause.
You going too? We talk about.
I was supposed to take him and Imam Naeem out.
We talk
for
about
lunch. Pause.
Pause.
But Imam Naeem was able to get an earlier flight.
Yeah.
So we didn't end up doing that. But if Imam, if you come up, Ahlan wa sahlan, let me know.
Inshallah.
And then I'd love to take y'all around, get some good food.
Absolutely.
I'll shoot up before he go and hang out.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll hang out. We cool like that.
Yeah. Come through.
Inshallah. All
right. Salaam alaikum. Thanks for the invite once again. Thank you.
So why don't you close us out with dua, inshallah, since we are at the end and we'd like to pass the ball to the youth. And don't make I'm
gonna keep it simple with Fatiha.
No problem.
بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.